What's good, y'all? My name is Rorvis Paradox, aka Dogs Brando, and I would like to welcome you all to another episode of Rorvis Reviews. Today's episode is called Did I Do the Right Thing? And this is because of the two films that you will be hearing about from me today, and I will also be presenting the connection that I found from them at the end. Now, just remember to hit that notification bell so you don't miss when videos drop. Also, follow me on IG at dogsbrando25 just so you can stay up to date. Now, with all that being said, let's get into it. Now, the first film I want to talk about is 1989's Do the Right Thing, directed by Spike Lee. This movie was insanely good. Lee not only directed but produced, wrote, and starred in the film. Now, some directors have a hard time doing all these things, but Lee excels in the balance of all areas while making this film. This film is about his character Mookie, and on the hottest day in his life as a pizza delivery man at the local pizzeria owned by an Italian American named Sal, played by Danny Elio. The only thing that is as hot as the temperature is the racial tension in the neighborhood. This movie makes you relate to the actual heat factor just by the look of characters just drenched in sweat the whole time. But as it progresses, it's the racial tension that really gets to you. This film is a comedy drama. And after one watch, I can without a doubt tell you all that is one of the best comedy dramas I've ever seen in my life. I spoke on how Lee balanced being an actor, director, writer, and producer of the film, but I must speak on his role as a writer. Lee was able to perfectly execute moments of pure joy and laughter that on a dime can make moments feel completely serious. One of my favorite comedic lines involves the character, the mayor, played by Ozzie Davis. These lines are between him and the character Mother Sister, played by Ruby Dee. The lines go as follow. Mother Sister, you've been talking about me for 18 years. What have I ever done to you? You're a drunk fool. Besides that, I'm sorry. Let me stop because I know it seems small, but there's just something funny about it. This made me laugh for 5 minutes. And it's a match made in heaven with the writing from Lee as well as the performance from Ozzie Davis. And there's something about the line delivery that just works perfect. Now, however, this on the flip side of that, Lee could at a drop of a hat make a moment feel serious, and one of them is shown when the mayor's telling some young people about his depressing past and how it led to him being the drunk man he is today. And with that, it can be shown that this film was made with the intention to be as real as possible. Almost all the characters feel like someone in your neighborhood, as well as the things that they're portraying are things that are in our everyday lives. People battling addiction get looked at and joked on, as well as the homeless get looked down on. These are two of the realest things that we see day to day, as well as small grievances being blown out of proportion is very realistic, and a police officer killing a black person over something small is very realistic. This film does an exceptional job of depicting how horrendous the effects of racial tensions are and the results that they can bring. I do not want to speak any further on this film because I think anyone that hasn't seen it yet should experience it for themselves. I would like to get into the highlights of the film because there's just so many that I would like to talk about. For example, the cast. The cast was phenomenal. Each actor, regardless of how much screen time they had, made the most out of their role. I spoke about Lee as a writer and director, but his performance as Mookie should not be undermined. He brought life to the character and then just phone in the performance. Many times some directors know they don't really have to put their all into certain characters because it's their film. That's like, the only thing that matters. But no, he, kind of brought his A game to this performance. Ozzie Davis as the mayor was one of my he was my favorite character of the film. And just like every time he was on screen, just like kind of just like, brought my attention to it. Samuel Jackson as Mr. Senior Love Daddy was a role that was highly enjoyable. Not really a major character, but anytime he popped up, it was just a moment on screen. Um, Next was Rosie Perez as Tina. It was nice. This was her debut as an actress, and it was nothing crazy. But I want to talk about. I really want to praise her for her dance performance in the opening of the film. She just dancing to "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy for the entirety of the opening credits, and it's just a great scene. But it's like so out of place and like crazy. But like I don't know if like this was literally just wrote in just for her to highlight her skills, or like I don't know like why this occurred because I've never seen like a film start this way. But like I still enjoyed it, it's a great song and she just doing different dance routines along with the sound with the song. So it's not like I don't know, it's just something that's just gonna stick with me just cause it's so crazy. But she did a great job with that. Next I would like to talk about John Turturro as Pino, Bill Nunn as Radio Raheem, and Danny Leo, as I mentioned before, as Sal. I just want to wrap up with mentioning those three because those last ones were also left an impression on me because of their performances. Um, all in all, this film is a clear 5 stars, easy, without a doubt, and I highly recommend because I know I'm going to go back to this film constantly. Now, the last film I want to talk about today is 2023's Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan. This film was another spectacle from Nolan. Honestly, I went to this film with no real expectations other than for it to be shot very well. I do not remember learning about Oppenheimer in school, so the name did not really ring any bells for me. It wasn't until I seen the trailer that I found out that he was involved with the creation of the atomic bomb. And after watching that film, I learned way more about him than I thought I would. This film takes us through his life, starting around the years before he earned his doctorate and on moving on and on going from there. This film goes back and forth through time for the audience to get more details on the life of Oppenheimer and why he is in a certain situation at the start of the film. That may sound a little bit confusing, but Nolan made it very simple to understand by showing the film in two distinct ways for you to know what is the past and what is the present. Before I go any further, I must applaud the performance of Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer. In the films I've seen him in previously, this is probably my favorite performance from him. He just shines at making Oppenheimer seem so interesting. Oppenheimer's wants, his needs, his heartbreak, his success, and his failures were all amplified by Cillian. Two of the things uh, that I found out were very shocking to learn about Oppenheimer. One was that he almost killed a professor of his by poisoning an apple. He stopped him, by the way. Like, he literally was able to throw away the apple before anything occurred. Secondly, was he was a known womanizer. Translation: he was a whore. Now, his escapades as a womanizer was so notable that in one of the first meetings between himself and General Leslie Groves, played by Matt Damon, this was literally the one of the first things General Groves mentions to him. Like literally just brings up off rip, like literally number 2 or 3, and it was insane and just funny to watch. And it's just crazy to watch someone that was so captivating and charismatic. And to him, it didn't really matter if a woman was single or married, including being married to one of his friends. If he saw you, he liked you, he's going to talk the game. And if it happens, it happens. And it was just crazy to see somebody of the academic spirit being shown in that light. I don't know. It's just something that's just funny to me. But watching him play out the story was just, oh, it was amazing. It's amazing to watch just because of how crazy it seems like. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But that's neither here nor there. Above all else, Oppenheimer was a brilliant mind. He was constantly thinking about the endless possibilities of the universe. His passion for his work is what brought people to him like moths to a flame, or in this case, to a bomb. Many of the people that worked with Oppenheimer were those who thought highly of him. And it wasn't just a respect thing. These people truly admired him and put him on a very high pedestal. And then some characters in the film called the area in which he ran during the Manhattan Project, they called it a cult of sorts because of how dedicated they were to him. They truly just like, some of them kind of, it did feel like some of them kind of worship him. But, when you're working with someone that, it's kind of like when athletes, they get to watch players when they were younger, get to play with them, you do get starstruck a bit because you're really in front of the person that inspires you. So I think that they shouldn't. I ain't think it was a big deal, but in some cases, I understand why it could be seen as a bad thing. But to continue on with the film, there's a quote from a different film by a character called Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. And the quote goes, Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should. And this quote really encapsulate what Oppenheimer goes through during like the process of making the bomb as well as, after it's created because he starts to regret making such a powerful weapon that could change the world as we know it. This is when the film goes to the next level, in my opinion. Seeing all the things Oppenheimer does to go against the very thing he helped create was just something that it was different. Most times people don't really put that much effort into it, and this is based off of historical facts. So seeing it play out was very intriguing to me, and it makes me want to do more research about it. But that is just all I will speak about the film. I truly believe it's a film that is a must watch, regardless if you know the history of it. This film brings insight on things many do not know about Oppenheimer, as well as it being shot very well by Nolan. It would be foolish of anyone not to see the story play out. Now to go into some of the highlights that I have of the film. I've already given Cillian his flowers, so I'm not going to speak any further on him. But I must speak on Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as real Admiral Louis Strauss. He killed this role, and I've never been so captivated by a role of his like this before. You just need to watch this film to understand what I mean because he just knocks it out of the park. The last person I want to mention by name is Emily Blunt playing Catherine Kitty Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer's wife. Her performance was a highlight in my opinion because she has to participate in the journey of being Oppenheimer's wife. So this includes, battling depression, as well as, raising these kids basically on her own. And the most notable thing, the headaches that come from having a cheating husband, a known cheating husband and dealing with the repercussions of that. There's certain times where she kind of stands up against him when he's like kind of down, but it's something that he caused. So she goes, I'm not gonna feel bad for you. You gotta, get those tears out your eyes. You need to stand up because you have a whole group of people that need you and look up to you. So you need to move forward, and that includes their kids. Um, but overall, it was just like great to see. I don't know. It was just great to see her performance in the film. It's something that's going to stick with me. But the rest of the cast did a great job as well. But these were just my standouts. So this was not to deter anyone else or talk down on. It's just like these are ones I'm definitely. When I watch the film, they're always going to. I'm always going to gravitate to their performances. All in all, I'm going to give this film 4.5 stars. Great watch, highly recommend. And I know I'm going to be going back to this movie to watch in the near future. Now, I've called this episode Did I Do the Right Thing? Not just because of the film I reviewed from Spike Lee, but also because of what happens in both films. There's moments in Do the Right Thing that make you think about whether or not characters are actually doing the correct thing to do. Even the main character in Mookie, he's going through his journey, and the mayor stops him to tell him one thing and one thing only, do the right thing. And even still, there's moments where you're not sure if he's doing the right thing. And this translates over to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer himself thinks about whether or not it's justifiable to create a devastating weapon. And then once it's created, he starts feeling much regret and not knowing if he did the right thing with it. And then even says to the president, I have blood on my hands, referring to the many deaths caused by the two bombs dropped on Japan. I just found these two films so interesting and was astounded that I could draw such a connection between the two. Now I have to ask, did you agree with what I said about these films? Have you seen these films and have a different opinion? If so, please drop all these in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe to help your boy out. Share with others so they may join the discussion. And I truly appreciate y'all's support and love y'all each for it. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you again for another Warvis Reviews. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,